There was empires in Africa called Kush, Timbuktu, where every race came to get books. My success to you, even if you wish me the opposite. Sooner or later, we'll all see who the prophet is.
Yeah. I once heard a man say, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great. Let's go. I'm crossing off all I told my ex about, shining through blackouts, storms and doubts.
We're here as a part of GotKushTV. We're at the Black History Studies event, as we mentioned earlier on before. We're here with Marley Morris. He is the co-founder alongside his good wife in regards to the Back to Black Empire. We're going to be profiling that a little bit later and showing you a bit of information there. He is also the organizer of the
Black Father Support Group. So I'm the press officer for Black Father Support Group.
Okay, Black Father Support Group. You heard it there from the mouth. And also, we also have something he has to his repertoire is he brought over very recently the Tariq Nasheed event. Now that was absolutely off the hook, fantastic Ram Jam session, you know, and especially where it was located in a beautiful venue in the West End. Let's start off before you leave. Back to Black. Okay, that's the foundation. That's what people are going to really know you for. What is Back to Black Empire?
You know, Back to Black Empire was an idea that myself and Angie, my other half, had. You know, we started off with this idea of let's create something, a tribe, right? Let's imagine a tribe of men and women, families, so on and so forth, who are working together for the betterment of the tribe. Now, the thing about Angie is that she's not interested in tribes. She's interested in empires. She wants it bigger. So she said, no, tribe isn't big enough. I want a empire that spans the UK, America, and Africa, and the Caribbean, but not just us. It's to be a group of a number of businesses who are working in conjunction with, alongside, you know, create working relationships so that we can all provide something for our community that has never been paralleled and that the sun never sets on. That's her kind of idea. So it's a much bigger idea, and that's what Back to Black Empire is striving to begin, that kind of level of conversation.
Okay. Now, Back to Black Empire doesn't just deal with obviously people will know for the Tariq Nasheed event which you had on there, but also there's a range of products, no doubt a growing range of products as you build. Can you tell us a little bit about the range before we get into the Tariq Nasheed?
Yeah, sure. Well, we've literally just got the keys to our brand new shop, which is in Station Road in Brixton. So it's just across from the Brixton Rec. And what we have are prints. So some of them are, you know, African-centered. And some of them are. We've got some prints from All Nights as well. And then we also have things like umbrellas and things for the home as well. So the umbrellas, you know, we literally stayed up night times, woke up in the morning, and just sat in bed and just drew pictures of umbrellas, what we'd have on them. And so now we have these different products that we're really proud of, that we know that are quality. So they're not things made out of metal which kink as soon as the wind hits them. They're things that are made out of carbon which can actually like flex and bend with the English weather. So that's what we're building for Back to Black Empire, and what we want to do is to ensure that we start speaking with other businesses that we can say, let us sell some of your products as well, you sell some of our products, so that we start creating something which is global, international.
Okay. Well, we're going to be speaking about that very soon, because I know you're very much into the group economics, especially black group economics. I know you've got something in the pipeline there which will tie in with that. We're going to get to that in a moment. But before we do, we're going to talk about the Tariq Nasheed event. Now, obviously, Tariq Nasheed deals very much with group economics, you know, and he has got a lot of followers worldwide. So it's ideal pairing between Tariq Nasheed and yourself. The actual event, where did the idea from the event come from? Did that come off the back of what you was doing, or was that concept already there, and Tariq Nasheed had always been there in the mind to bring forward to the UK?
I spoke with Tariq about a year and a half ago. So I sent him an email. I said, look, hey, I want to bring you over to England. I had a brother in the background, and what we said was, you know, the brother I was going to work with, he said he'll put up the money for it if I'm willing to put in the work for it. Okay, so we said, yeah, cool, we'll get in contact with the brother. Tariq said, yeah, I could do that. I'll come down. Here's my rate. I was like, good, let's go. And then the brother I was working with said, you know, his financial situation has changed. He can't do it anymore. It fell down. And you know, I talked to another brother, and he said, I can financially back it if you do the work. I got back into touch with Tariq. I was like, hey, I've got another backer. Let's do it. He said, great. Here's a new date. That flopped as well. And at that point, I realized that, you know, I need to be a lot more. I need a much stronger base to work off of. Right? Trying to do this off of one person is a lot more difficult. It's a lot more difficult. You need to have a much wider base. And I kept hearing Tariq talking about group economics, you know, and banging on about that. And I said to myself, well, it's got to work. I keep hearing it being spoken about. I could see that Tariq has done it with the way he's been able to fund his documentaries, but I haven't seen it happen here in the UK practically. So I thought, well, let me try and create something where we could do an event that it has to be better than any event that I've been to, you know, in that kind of space. It has to be bigger than any event I've been to, and it has to work on group economics in order to validate the idea of group economics. And so that was the game we were playing. If it's not something that really pushes the boundaries, then I'm not inspired enough to go for it. So it had to be something that was going to push boundaries, right?
Empire business.
Has to be empire business, or I ain't doing it. So that's the game that me and Angie got involved in. And we spoke with the community. We said, look, we'll create coupon codes, and these coupon codes will allow anybody for free to sell those tickets and get paid on the ticket that they sell. So even if you said, okay, I've sold 4 tickets and now I get paid on every one of those 4 tickets on my own, great, boom, you get a piece, I get a piece, the people get a discounted ticket, everyone's happy. That way, I only had to speak to, you know, 300 people, but we ended up with 700 people there. With 700 people there, you can afford to have 2. That was Dr. Les as well. I know people keep talking about Tariq, but Dr. Les was there as well, and Dr. Les smashed it. He came in like he had a mallet in his hand and smashed it. And the venue was beautiful. The venue was crisp. The vendors were excellent. I had said on there that, you know, if you're going to be a vendor, don't come with any bootleg DVDs. I don't want anything shabby in there. You know, we made sure everyone had big tables so they could really showcase their stuff. And so the whole event spoke to greatness. The minute you walked in, it was greatness, 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 until those people left. That's all that we spoke about, and that's all the level was on, empire and empire building. And that was the whole basis of it. And the reason why I had that thing, I wanted to have those people there, was because the kind of people I wanted to have there was to be able to get this idea that I spoke about earlier of building an empire in the real world, not just empire in an event. Because what usually happens in these events is that you go there, people have a good time, people are inspired, and they leave and they go back to work, get back on the bus, and then life takes over. What we wanted was to do something where people go to the event, are inspired, there's a call to action, and there's something we can move on and move forward with. And that was, let's all start building up this empire, let's start working together.
Okay, so that leads on to the next question in regards to the empire that you're building. Now, one thing I must say I particularly liked when I went onto your Facebook page and I saw your insignia that you use for your company, and it just looks regal, it looks classic, it looks empire-ish, yes. You know, and I like that concept, like everything big, even the venue where you had the Tariq Nasheed. You know, the way that it was seated, the way that you had the auditorium set out and everything. It looked, straight away you walked into somewhere and I said, this guy's not messing around. Like they're placing themselves on the map and they're setting the bar, you know. And it was a great bar to set. But you just touched on something where you said, well, that's just a foundation. Because I do remember towards the end of the event, you did mention to people, well, look, this isn't just a one-off event. We're now going to talk about following through in what we're talking about here. We're not going to talk about group. We're not going to have someone come over, talk group economics, and then not actually start practicing group economics. We're going to start practicing it from now. This is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to set out. And you laid out a plan of business or a plan of action for people to get involved with. Let us know exactly how that's progressing and where you are right now.
Sure. I mean, first of all, what I notice in our community, there's a lot of backpatting. So it's like, you know, someone does something well, right? And they might make a bit of money, and then they'll spend that money on something that allows them to pat themselves on the back. So I go look at my car, or look at my jewelry or whatever. And it's all a waste of time and actually doesn't do anything. I'm about what's next. Now what is the question I'm always about. So you put on an event, right? And the idea was to, as you say, create the bar, not even, you know, raise the bar. Like, there's a whole brand new bar now, right? Now we've created that, now what? So as I was about to introduce Tariq, I said that I've been listening to this guy for the last couple of years go on about group economics. Now, I was able to show everybody, had people put their hands up if they got their ticket at a discounted rate. So that those people could see that there was a third of the people who were there who got their ticket cheaper because of group economics. And so I didn't just get paid on it, but there was a good 20, 30 people who were there who all got paid on it. And there was a good 300 people there who got discounted tickets. Now, if we take that outside of friend's house in Euston, and we were all to put £50 of our own money into our own account per month for a year, and then came back in 365 days later and said, let's start a business, what could we do? And that's the conversation that I'm starting now, all right? So the idea that I'm working on is starting up a small supermarket, a small mini market that you could have in any part of London, Bristol, Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, you know, and it's not a black supermarket, okay? So just so we get that clear. Even though our event that we had with Tariq Nasheed was obviously something for our community, it wasn't something where, you know, I was walking around I wasn't overtly doing that. It was about saying empire, it was about excellence. They were the kind of things that I was really trying to push. And that's the same thing with this. So we're looking for an excellent business where you could have a delicatessen, where you have good food, fresh produce there. We could have ready meals which are fresh as well, which people can buy and take home and be able to feed themselves and their family, and ensure that the food they're having is nourishing. And the feedback I got from that immediately was people were applauding, people were nodding their heads, and afterwards I was getting emails and text messages saying, when do we start? I was getting text messages saying, thank you for that great event, and I want to start on this business. This is something that should have been done already, and it just takes someone to be bold enough to do that. We have the blueprint. You know, you can read any Marcus Garvey book and you have the blueprint. So we have the instructions. We can look at people like Tariq, for example, people like Patrick Augustus, who have used group economics to do amazing things right here and now. And now what it takes is for someone to say, okay, I'll do it. And that's what I'm about.
I mean, one of the greatest things is the quality, what you're saying, and the excellence. And it's glad, not only that, you know, because a lot of people will pick up something like this and jump on a bandwagon. It's all about group economics, and it becomes a term which just becomes thrown around. Like the conscious movement becomes a term now which is just thrown around. Anybody can jump on it without having maybe the integrity or the moral standpoint or the things which are required to really make it work. So, you know, to see that and be able to hear it from you, but not only hear it, you're seeing it manifest I mean, to the point where, you know, as soon as I receive that email, my £50 on the table monthly, I need to be involved. Not because of I'm here saying that with you, but being able to see the long-term vision, because it's something which group economics should understand. There's a difference between money now, you touched on it, where people just patting each other on the back, and what wealth is. Wealth is something which you pass down. So therefore, you know that something which starts off at £50 a head here by those who just say, you know what, I'm going to go in for this. I'm going to get involved with this now. If everyone has also got that mental vision of seeing what it's going to become, and it has to be steered by somebody. Someone has to direct the way at which it goes, you know, and someone who's proven to be able to do that. But once you can see that vision, and everyone's mentally focusing on it, and because you have a stake in it also, then that manifesting. Because I know I'm very much also into the mental aspects of what it creates to create a business, what is needed to make a business, how to visualize seeing that coming to happen, and then following the steps to make it happen. And as you said, if someone's bold enough, and someone who throws the name Empire in their business, there's definitely a bit of boldness going on there. But you know, I definitely see it manifesting, and I can see it manifesting by the type of person that you are, and I think that's what's important in leading this way forward, having not just mentalities but the right type of mentalities, leading the way forward and making it happen. And I can definitely see Back to Black Empire doing that. And you know, with GKTV, with GotKush, you know, we're 100%. We want to follow. And hopefully we'll be able to follow step by step and maybe document and record as this moves forward. So people out there can see this manifesting before your very eyes. It's not just someone saying it right now. You actually see it manifesting before your very eyes. How interested would you be involved with GotKushTV in doing something like that?
That would be excellent. I'll be so happy if that happens. You know, anybody could put on a dashiki and immediately you'll think to yourself, okay, that's someone who's from that environment, that conscious community. I'm about action. One of the people who are on the team, the sister wrote the business plan for 99p stores. She wrote their business plan. That's like from one shop with one family who are a bit like Angela, thinks on the level of Empire. So now they have 200 shops around the country and have just been sold for a couple £100 million. That's the level that I'm playing on. I'm not one of these people who do a lot of talking. I'm like, don't even listen to me, right? What I'm talking about actually doesn't mean that much. It's what I'm doing. And the same thing with GotKushTV. GotKushTV have proven what they're about, you know? I won't go on GotKushTV and see some ratchet video. I won't. That's not what you guys are about. So I know by the actions and by the output and by the product that I can rely on on you brothers and sisters. And it's the same thing with Back to Black Empire. I only want us to deal with what are you doing and what is next. If we could run on that. Just a side point, the Black Father Support Group, you know, I work as their press officer there, and one of the things we had on our website, it's still there at the moment, was empowering families for stronger communities, which sounds nice. But again, what I said was, this is a talking thing, right? What you need is action. So I changed it to £10,000 for your child. Imagine if we were to work together to be able to, as fathers, to ensure that each one of our children have a legacy that they could build upon. Even if it is only £10,000, it's not much, but it's a £10,000 leg up that a lot of us, if we had that, we could have started our own business. We could have started our own, you know, we could have gone to university if they wanted. We could have bought land in Africa. We could have done all sorts of things if we had that leg up. So it's about creating something now, not for us, but for our children and our children's children. They're going to be here when we're not, and we need to start working on that level, on the level of Empire, on the level of what's next. And if we can all work on those kind of premises, who knows what's possible? Who knows anything is possible? And I'm up for that game.
Listen, you've heard it here first. And when it comes to generational business, it makes sense. And this is what we're trying to do with GotKushTV. We're working for these younger generations coming up in the future. We'd like to say thank you for Mr. Marley Morris for his time. I know he's going to run off. A very, very busy man right now. Thank you very much for your time. And look, we're 100% behind that which you're doing. 100%, seriously. And if we can get other people on board, that's what we're about doing. Big man, you take care of yourself.
You say I go make count. You know me picking kisses. My papa was a great man. Baby, I not say you. Look food at the table. We are here to leave a legacy. I told you I got you. I told you I got you. I told you I got you.
We're here with GKTV, still down in the place. It's still busy, getting busier, having a great time. People are enjoying themselves. Right here, we've got one of the stall holders now. I personally know this lady for many, many years. When I say she's busy, she is very, very busy. She has a multitude of businesses and they're all community based. You know, hard working, not the word for it. Family woman, yes. Children, yes. Husband, yes. Husband's a busy man. Look, I'm going to say no more. I'm going to let you talk. Leah, you've got your stall here today. Let's first talk about Black History Studies and why you're down here today.
I'm actually here more to support my husband and my children's businesses. However, it was always going to be important for me to make sure that I supported the event, put money in the pockets of Black History Studies so that they can continue their valued work in the community of creating a platform for the black businesses in the community to be able to sell their wares and promote themselves, because it's a very common misconception that black businesses don't exist or there's not enough of us, when in fact there's a multitude of us. Unfortunately, we maybe don't know how to access the same online opportunities and offline opportunities to promote ourselves, so we're very much hidden. So what Black History Studies is doing and continues to do is empower black businesses to make their presence known so that they can not just be one of those businesses that lasts a year and then has to fold, but a business that can maintain itself so that we can build that strong black economy that we very much need in this country.
Now, did you hear that voice? Did you hear that voice? We're getting a big thumbs up from the crew at the back. Did you hear that voice? Look, let's talk about something else which you're very passionate about. The homeschool coaching and the homeschooling. Now, I know you do that because you've got the children and you run your businesses and you like to keep everything organic, natural, and make sure what's going into your children's heads makes sense and is conducive to their development and growth. But tell us a little bit more about that and what the next steps where you're looking to take that at the moment and what you're involved in the community.
Well, basically, we decided to homeschool our children because we are students of Dr. Malachi Z. York, who has always told us that the community and the system that's out there for us is not beneficial for us. It's pretty much school to work to possibly prison pipeline that we are being pushed through, and it's basically for money. It's not for our development. The school system is even failing Caucasian children. Our children don't stand a chance unless we literally brainwash them when we come home. When I had children, the thought of me having to brainwash my children every day when they come home, considering we only retain about 10% of what goes into our heads, was too much for me to fathom. It was too much undoing to do. So we decided to literally shape our lives in order to keep our children home with us, which is why we both decided to become self-employed so that we could stay home and educate our children, so that we could not only make sure that we prevent rubbish from going into their head, but so we can literally groom our children to understand their greatness and understand that there's nothing that they can't do. Because when you go to school, the school will tell you what you're going to do. You'll at some point be faced with a careers advisor telling you, you're going to be a gym instructor. Why don't you go into sport? Maybe you should be an actor. Maybe you should try rap. We didn't want that for our children. We wanted our children to fully understand if they want to be the president, if they want to own the biggest corporation, there's absolutely nothing stopping them, especially their skin color. And if they are too much in the system, they will at some point believe their skin color, their nationality is going to be a boundary for them achieving things. And we never wanted that for our children. We want to empower all black parents to take back control of their children's minds, whether they full-time take their children out of school or whether they do as much as they can around their children being in school, is all homeschooling. Anything you do with your child at home is homeschooling. And yes, you will have to adapt your life. Maybe you can't spend as long on Facebook and as much time in front of EastEnders, but the benefits long-term are so worth it. You're not going to have to chase your children off the streets. You're not going to have to worry about them developing mindsets that are dangerous for them. Your child won't become another statistic if you invest a bit of time in your children.
So is this a business that you have actually running, or is it something you just speak on? If it is a business, give us a little bit of information on the business, how people can contact you on that before we move to the next business.
Okay, so we have a organisation called Teaching Our Own, the Black Homeschooling Fair, and it was basically, it wasn't necessarily a business to make money. We just wanted to, again, provide a platform for people in the black community who wanted to start homeschooling to learn more about it. Some people still think homeschooling is illegal. Not everybody even knows it's a possibility. Some people just can't fathom how they want to take their children, but they don't know how to do it. So we had a fair last year in May. We're going to be having another one in August this year, and you'll be able to find out more about it at teachingourown.co.uk or .com.
Okay, well, you make sure GotKushTV is involved in that one. We'd love to support everything that you're doing in regards to that, because what you just touched on, a very important subject. The other aspect that you deal with is health. Now, health is a very important aspect out there at the moment. A lot of people are jumping on the health thing, but you've been doing this for years. Okay, I used to see your appetizing green shakes. You know, I used to look at these green shakes and thinking, I don't know, doesn't look too appetizing, but oh no, this is something not new to you. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that. I know you've got information over there at the moment, and I think if we're going to go over to your table anymore a little bit later and do a profile on that. But you also do the coaching. Give us a little bit of information in regards to that.
Basically, when I was a teenager, I developed a menstrual problem, which meant I was bleeding between my periods. I had already been taught by, like I said, Dr. Malachi Z. York, that basically doctors want to either operate on you or drug you or ignore you. And I was scared of those two things happening. So I lived with this condition for about 2 years. When it got too bad, I did go to the doctors, and they did the latter. They ignored my condition. This empowered me to find out more about herbs and nutrition and lifestyle changes, and I implemented those, and within 2 months the symptoms had subsided. Within 3 cycles it had completely gone. So that empowered me to want to do that for other people, because I know a lot of people are living with conditions that are stopping them from being able to achieve their life goals. There's some people who want to go from being an employee to an entrepreneur, but when they get home from work they're so tired because of not fueling their body properly that they can't achieve the massive goals they have for themselves, or they're living with conditions that they're purely medicating. When you medicate a condition, all you're doing is making a pharmaceutical company money. You are doing nothing to solve that condition. So that's when I started writing books, doing workshops, holding events, and doing private and group coaching, so that people can come to me with their conditions, and I can teach them how to eat better, use natural remedies, and develop the mindsets necessary to heal themselves naturally.
Okay, so that's another string to the bow. Your children, they've got a stall over there. We're going to go and have a look at that stall very shortly and see what the children are going. But your children have got a lovely little store. I asked who done the designs on them, and they pointed to the elder one, so I can see that it's not just selling stuff, but they're actually making this stuff. Tell us the importance of why you're doing that today and why that's so important. And the main thing is that the children can actually have a stall at this type of environment.
Yeah. I'm not carrying my children. I ain't buying their trainers. I'm not buying their DSs. I want my children to learn you don't get pocket money for nothing. You have to earn money. Because a lot of our children are unfortunately quite spoilt. We're quite spoilt. I mean, children these days are getting a DS and a PlayStation and a bag of sweets just to be behaving children. I've never promoted spoiling children. And if there's anything that I can do to empower my children to be very self-sufficient and not look for handouts from an early age, because another crisis we have in this community and in the UK in general is the benefits system. High five. Is the benefits culture. So even though it's a facet in a lot of our lives, and it's something some of us have to rely on, our children don't have to have that as a reality in their lives. They can learn from a very early age. They have within their grasp the ability to create their own income and finance without having to rely on anybody. So that's why we encourage them to, whatever it is that they're interested in. Their father's an amazing graphic and web designer and artist, and they have that artistic flair. So put pen to paper, get your hands to work and create something that you can sell. And that's all you need to start a business. It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be flamboyant, but you're going to come home at the end of the day with some money in your pocket, and I don't have to feed you all day.
Now, do you notice that? You understand the power of the mother-father unit, which is being mentioned here. This is something that GotKush, which we're trying to promote. We're trying to get people to understand, because this platform is not just for business itself, but it's people going to be viewing it, and we want people to actually see how this actually works. How people such as yourself, how you're able to build, and the things that you're doing, and maybe inspire others in the community to do the same thing. And that's the whole point of the platform of GotKushTV. And as you can see, this ain't no mess around platform. Everything's looking very slush and bash here. So but this is the way forward. This is the platforms we must set. So hat goes off to everything that you're doing out in the community. I know you had a great teacher. yeah, may still have a great teacher, yeah. And you can see the teachings of Dr. Malachi, Baba Tumre, whatever term you may use, whatever school you may come from, who knows of this teacher. This is what is being produced out of that school. And there's many, many people who are here or out there who are doing great things based out of the education they've learned. So that makes it clear that GotKushTV is here to promote not only the products of the teachers, but also the teachers in themselves in regards to the great things they've set out for the future. And that's what GotKush is about. And as we mentioned earlier on, the breakdown of the GKTV, that's going to go, you're going to understand what that's about and what the Kush actually means. And that knowledge is one important part of it, as we mentioned earlier on. Leah, you know what? I'm going to give you a hug because I know you like that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, this is GKTV. We're out of here.
You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great. Uh-huh.